What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Neo Scavenger. You give me a moment here. I'm rearranging my desk slightly, and you would think that I would turn off the recording before I do something like this, but nah. Unprofessionality is job one, I guess, here. Oh, good, more bullets. There's a lot of stuff on the ground. We got a lot of jacketed hollow points now, too. They stack up to 7 because I assume that's how many will go into the 1911. I distinctly remember my friend was in the police academy, and he said that when you go in, you have to buy a gun at some point in police academy. And when you buy a gun, like, you can actually get it written off on your taxes or something like that. But he said that he wanted a 1911 as his weapon that he carried on his beat or whatever once he got out of there. And unfortunately, he wasn't allowed to because there's a minimum amount of ammo that the police, like police guns, if you were a police officer on duty, your gun has to hold a certain amount of ammo. I always thought that I had no idea that that was even something that was pertinent, but I guess it makes sense. Just in case you get yourself into a long-term gunfight. You're not going to fight with me right now out in the middle of nowhere, are you? Like, I know you don't want to do this right now. Oh, and it's dark, too. Our chances of seeing this guy are next to none. We're probably going to get clipped. Oh, this sucks. Does he have... Oh, he doesn't see us either. He has a meat cleaver, though, which is concerning as hell. I don't know if I'm down for this kind of like weird Hannibal Lecter action. Do we kill him? Is he down or did he run away? Okay, he ran away. I'll accept that too. I don't want to kill you if I don't have to. I mean, I don't like you none, but that doesn't mean we can't like part ways amicably. Just be like, let us find a non-violent solution right now because frankly, this isn't going to work out for either of us if we try to drive this one home. It looks like I've got a couple of batteries up in this tester that I didn't notice. Let's take a moment and split those stacks. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to empty it on out. We're going to throw some charges up in these double A's. Yup, aye, there it is. We'll throw it up inside there. And actually, the quicker way to do this, if you put it back in your inventory and you just go like this, it's way faster. So just do it that way. Don't load it up manually on the ground. It'll take you too long to get charged. Alright, so we're good right now. We're looking really, really good, in fact. I've got a gun. It's got ammo. I wish that the gun on your back counted as a weapon you could rotate in between your hot slots in combat, but it does not. I think I'll probably reload my sling right now, just in the off chance that we get attacked again. Our stats are looking pretty good, but we need to sleep. But with a bad mother around, I'm not okay with it. He's trying to leave right now, and so am I. So if we can avoid killing each other, that'd be great. I should probably... Well... I guess it's a risk, but this will allow us to use more turns during the night, and so I guess I'll go for it. The DMC, how much further is it? Oh wow, it's way down here. I misjudged that distance like crazy, and that's not too far from me. I'm used to misjudging distances like crazy. I wish that you could slow down the scroll on the map screen. You might be able to. I've tried holding down control and a couple other things, but it doesn't appear to work that way. Maybe I'll figure it out someday. Someday I will figure out how this damnable system works. I'm not going to rest while I know that there's a bandito around. However, I'll take a nap right here. This seems okay. Do I still have a noise trap? Yeah, throw that on the ground. Got a noise trap. We'll throw our mummy bag on the ground too, make everything a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, that'll work. Had trouble falling asleep, huh? Why is that? Am I in pain? No, we're good. We have lost blood, but other than that, it's not too bad. I wonder why we're having trouble. Are we sick right now? I'm a little bit paranoid about it because obviously, oh good, I left my flashlight on all night like the good little survivalist camper that I am. Awesome. You want to see my dad get mad when I was a little kid? Leave the flashlight on that we brought when you go to bed at night. There would be a pet peeve right there. My dad would get this pained look on his face. I hit my dad in the knee with a baseball bat one time too. He had the same look on his face. It's funny in retrospect, but in that moment I thought I might die. I was actually pretty scared. I was worried. I had never struck my dad with a blunt object before. Although my life is honestly just like a real cavalcade of really, really bad choices. Like, seriously. My parents are like the nicest people ever for putting up with me my entire life. Like, honestly, if my kid had done like a fifth of the things that I did like to my parents, I don't know if I could just like, I wouldn't be mad, but I'd just be like, God damn, kid, what are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? Like, I vouch for you too. I tell all my friends that like you get good grades and you're smart, and then you just do stuff like this all the time. All the time. I'm trying really, really hard right now. And unfortunately, it's... Anyways, I was at batting practice. It was on a baseball team, and my dad was chucking the balls up. And you know how, like, when you're doing batting practice, one person sits across and throws balls up in the air, and you just smack them into a chain link fence? That's what we were doing. Anyways, he stood up, and I wasn't aware that he was behind me, actually. I think I was at baseball practice, I think, for, like, a church function or something, like a softball game. And so... he was up like behind me for some reason. I think he went to go get something out of the bag, the baseball bag. And anyways, yep, cracked him in the knee with a baseball bat, like square right on the patella. It was bad. It was bad. He made a noise that I'd never heard my dad make before either. Like, by the time you hit the age of 11 or 12, you figure you've heard your dad make just about every noise ever, excluding a few rare ones because nobody needs that kind of sanity loss. But in the first place, yeah, he made a pained noise that I can only describe as really kind of a crossover between a moose, like a moose in heat while dying, and then a bear rolling over mid-slumber. And I'm not really sure, like, the look in his eye was one of, I am going to destroy this child. He walked away, though. Nothing bad happened. He, like, walked off in the distance and just, like, stood there, just, like, breathed for a while. That's how I knew I was in deep shit. Oh, man. Last chance KNT. We made it all the way here. I knew we had some travel time, so I have to tell stories whenever we have a travel time. Otherwise, it just doesn't work like that. There was another time we were having a... God... There was another time, I don't even know how this happened either. Like, to this day, I think about this story, and I have no idea how this occurred. So, essentially what happened is we were in the backyard having a water balloon fight, me and my friends, and I was standing by the back patio door. My dad had it, like, slightly open, and he said something about, I don't know, he came out and told me something, and I went to throw like, as hard as I could. I went to throw a water balloon at somebody, and you know how water balloons, if they're overfilled, they aren't stiff, like they deform in your hand? Well, however it happened, it deformed in my hand so that I didn't throw the water balloon at my friend. It went out of my hand like sideways, almost at like a, if the direction I was facing was 0 degrees, it flew out of my hand at like an 85-degree angle and hit my dad smack in the side of the head point blank. I totally, to this day, he thinks I did it on purpose. And I was like, no, do you think I'm honestly skilled enough to curve a water balloon at an 85-degree angle? Like, look at the direction my arm was pointing. I was pointing at the other kid. It just kind of slipped. Didn't mean to. That one's a lot less. The baseball bat story, though. That one's for realsies. That one will get you in trouble. Oh, look, lamp. I love lamp. Let's see here. We've got 38, jacketed hollow point. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't see any reason not to. So are these... Oh, no, those are 45... What's going on here? Okay, so there's a couple different 45s right there. Those are actually surprisingly heavy. For their size, anyways. They actually cause quite a bit of encumberment. Oh, well. We'll sell off some of this stuff to offset the cost. Obviously, it's not going to be enough to get us all the way there. But it's something. It'll get us back up to like the $600, $700 region, and that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. How's that sling looking? 85%. Okay, so let's go ahead and lock and load that real fast. I don't know if it counts as lock and load. I figure it'd be like roll and wrap. What would you call it for a sling? Like lock and loading a sling would have to be like roll and wrap, right? I don't know. I have no idea what you would use to denote the fact that you were like, with military efficiency, locking and loading your weapon that is also a sling. Alright, so we'll get this over here. Yeah, we made it back in. We got our money back. It's not that big of a deal. This is the whole reason why we came back down here. I'll probably make the run out. What is Hatter doing right now? What's Hatter up to? You know he's got to be up to something no good. Let's go find out. Hatter's always up to something. You cross the muddy street towards the old flop house. You step off the familiar lift, and Hatter turns to look at you, finishing his conversation. Private call with a client, boys, Hatter says to his hired guns. Don't worry if this one kills me, your pensions are nil either way. Okay, so we've seen this one. This is the one where Hatter gives the job to go to Grayling and put the flash drive up in there. Make sure you ask all the pertinent questions. I mean, sometimes asking a question can much later on in the game open up another dialogue option. And it's weird how often that happens in this game. Like, you'll just... I get lazy and I skip through things really fast a lot of the time, and when I do that I almost always regret it later on, because then I find out that you specifically had to say a certain thing in a certain conversation, otherwise you won't have the option to take a certain action later on, and so it can become troublesome. It can become troublesome. I'm gonna rip up some of these. Actually, no, we're out of moves. I can't do that right now. Got no moves left, mine. No moves left. We haven't been in the glow in this playthrough just yet, so we should probably go in there and just kind of like see what's up. I want to save money for the Haggerty Health Clinic. We could go to the Detroit Savings Bank and just see what's going on over here. Detroit Savings Bank turns out to be a surprisingly tricky business to find. It has a presence for certain. Self-service terminals are near ubiquitous, winking at passers-by from countertops, ad walls, and alcoves. But there's little more to these terminals than signage, lights, and a screen. There doesn't even appear to be a place to dispense cash nor insert a card. After a bit of walking, though, you eventually find a Detroit Savings Bank micro branch with more than a screen. You're outside of the Detroit Savings Bank Gate 11 micro branch. A secure climate-controlled booth, slightly larger than a covered bus stop, sits on the sidewalk here. It has the requisite self-serve terminal on the exterior, but looking through the transparent walls, there appears to be an actual human teller inside. Well, let's go in. You pull the transparent door open and step through. Inside, you're greeted with bright-colored light and dry, tepid air. The teller, a presentable-looking young woman with straight brown hair, looks up from her terminal warmly. "Hello," she says. "Is there anything I can assist you with today?" Well, we've got a bunch of stuff right here. Pretend to be a mentally retarded patient. Okay. So everything in here is part of our mentally retarded scheme? Alright, even the rocks and everything else, huh? I guess everything leads to that. I don't know what the good plan is here. I guess I'll ask about the Gyges facility account. You begin explaining your situation, starting with the cryo facility, your amnesia, and the clues you followed to reach this point. She feigns interest as you tell your tale, but at the first opportunity interjects. "I'm sorry, Mr. Kindred, but do you hold an account with us?" "I think so," you consider answering, but she continues. "Or perhaps you have some form of identification." I think that... Well, I don't want to go to Haggerty right now. Haggerty is the last place I want to be. We need to go to... No! Stop that clicky finger. You're doing it wrong. Alright, so I can wait for her to leave. You find a good position with a good vantage point and stare at the booth like a psycho for a while. The booth doesn't garner a lot of foot traffic, which might explain why there are so few of them around town. As soreness overcomes your feet, you realize it's going to take longer than you expected. You're outside the Detroit Savings Bank. Oh, I guess that's it. You can hide, too. If you have the hiding skill, you can do something with that. The Red Gnome is essentially just like a place that you go to get dinner. And I would rather use the Last Chance Canteen anyways. Since we're already here, we might as well sleep it off for a bit. We're having that much trouble falling asleep, huh? Disappointing. Disappointing, but we'll get there eventually. There it is. So have we healed up at all? I know we had some fairly serious wounds that we had to deal with earlier on, like the previous episode. Actually, both those are still clean. Good for us. Alright. That'll work out for right now. I'm going to take a second and let's refill this over here. Just in the off chance. I'm not going to, like, sit down and refill all the flashlights and everything like that. We've got enough charges inside of here to essentially keep ourselves rocking for quite some time. And so now I'd say it's time for Zom Zoms. Let's go ahead and handle that. Now that we've got the flash drive from Hatter, that puts us squarely on the path to victory. Why squares are considered to be so... I don't know. Why are squares held to be in such high esteem and also... Resteem? What the hell is resteem? I guess resteem is what you would do if you were up in a sauna and it ran out of steam. But anyways... I feel like squares are held in high regard by people that are classy, and then they're held in low regard by people that, like, live on the edge of society. So, like, edgy, cool guys like Fonzie don't like squares. But then, like, normal people that are, like, all up about rules and laws and, like, following things that you're told, they're totally down with squares. What led to this dichotomy? Why was the square in the first place determined to be the shape that best represented an individual that likes to follow society's laws and never take chances? How did that happen? A square is just a geometric shape. I suppose... Ooh, there's a sleeping bag here? What? Come along with me, sleeping bag. Oh, never mind. You won't fit, sleeping bag. Why? Why? Why do you do these things to me, sleeping bag? I don't even like you that much anyways. You're not even that good of a sleeping bag. You are a mediocre sleeping bag, and I hope you feel guilty about it forever. Let's go ahead and we'll break this open. We found something. Good. Sehr gut. And so we will go over here. We'll grab... Ooh, another laptop. Hooray. We've got a 2x7. I'll probably need the laptop to get myself into Zom Zoms. I gotta give them something valuable, otherwise they won't let me come in. Oh, man. Let me guess. Another stranger. I'm gonna sprint away because... Oh, good. Awesome. He's not trying to kill us. He just wants to leave. He wants to live in peace just like us. Oh, man, I should have ate at the canteen before I left. I messed up. I done messed up bad. Alright, so let's go up here. We're going to scavenge some forest for a little bit, see if we can get ourselves fed. So there's a little bit right there. Anything else, huh? A little bit right there. How much does that leave us with? Some edible mushrooms. It'll get us up to thirsty, I suppose. I'll drink some bad water. It'll be fine. What's the worst that can happen? Get dysentery? Giardia? All things that I was prepared for the moment I walked out into the wasteland. The simple fear of horrible, decrippulating diseases cannot stop me. I like that word, decrippulating. It's not even a real word. It's just a word that I made up for this situation, but I feel like it really sort of denotes how I feel about it. I like it. Decrippulating. I might add a C to the end of it. I don't know. When you're creating your own words, if you're trying to make them funny and humorous, they should always have as many k sounds in them as possible. That's the secret. I don't know who decided this, but apparently in the English language, the funniest sound you can make is a K sound. I've read this in multiple comedy books. Like, multiple comedy writing books have specifically brought this up as a point. And so I figure that in general, it's just something that most comedians know. I've started paying attention when I watch stand-up comedy now, too, to see if anybody actually, like, vets that. But as of yet, it doesn't appear as though there's an increase in comedians telling jokes that result in a punchline that has a k sound in it. I don't know. I think that'll fit right there. Yeah. Oh, a pack boot. Yeah, buddy. Okay, so that's better than our shoe. I'll drop that on the ground. We're not wearing matching shoes, so we're not really looking that great in terms of style, but in terms of function, we get by. We get around like the Beach Boys. I was singing that song the other day. I was all up in my house just doing every single verse. I was excited about it, too. It'll get it between me and some Beach Boys. That was the first album I ever owned. When I was like 10 years old, my parents had a CD player, and they bought me that CD, and I was like, yeah, I listened to a lot of Beach Boys, because you know when you're a little kid, you only have like 2 movies and like 1 album. I mean, it's not like you have a whole lot of other options. Let's go ahead and see what we can find here using our Flash-a-ma-light. Okay, not like the best loot spree, but still has enough stuff here to where, yeah, I mean, there's things we can take out of here for sure. More painkillers, another lighter. I'm probably just going to leave those behind. However, the things that I am interested in are going to be relegated largely to these medium quality shoes, because we can get a good amount of cash for each one. Those pants aren't so bad either. I don't mind being a clothing dealer if I don't have, like, if it's a way to make money, I'll do it. We got more time right here. Yeah, let's check out the forest and see if we can find a little bit more sustenance. No sustenance. Well, I'm going to take people's advice, and I am not going to sleep in a forest, because I'd like there to be a little gap in between me and them. So I'm also going to take that off of me for right now. Take the flashlight off real quick. We'll switch that off, and then we'll put the sling back into our hand. There we go. So now we're playing like a OG Neo Scavenger Pro. That's how you know right there. That's how you know. Let's go ahead and get some rest here. Some shut-eye. Although if you're my cat, it doesn't necessarily have to be closed-eyed. My cat sleeps with his eyes open all the time. As he's gotten older and more geriatric, he sleeps with his eyes open. It's the weirdest thing ever. I thought he was dead like multiple times. Like seriously, one time I couldn't wake him up. Like he was breathing, but he wouldn't wake up. Freaked me out. I like my cat. I don't want him to be dead. I'd be so sad. Don't expect videos for at least a week when this cat goes, because he and I, we're connected. We're very much connected. We're like pair bonded or something. I don't know. But he and I are homies. Homies till death do us part. No, I got that cat back in the day. He actually belonged to my ex-girlfriend, but she moved down to like Burbank in Los Angeles, and so she left the cat with me. She left the dog with me too. She was not really the most... She was not really the... Oh, I left the food on the ground, didn't I? Alright, well, she wasn't the most... What's the word that I'm looking for here? I don't know. I'm not going to say mature, but I'm going to say she just, like, didn't have any sense of responsibility. So she would, like, adopt these animals, and then she got, like, some job contract in Los Angeles and just, like, bailed and moved down to there and just, like, left all these animals with me. And so I kept the cat. I gave the dog to my parents because they loved him, and they're Pomeranian and Chihuahua people. And so he was a Pomeranian, my ex-girlfriend's dog. I liked him. His name was Tony. He's a pretty cool dog. He's alright. I still go visit him. He's still alive. He still lives with my parents. But anyways, we got him as a puppy. He was expensive too. My ex dropped a bunch of money on him, like seriously, like a serious fistful of change on a purebred Pomeranian, which was probably ill-advised considering, like, in a week after that we were gonna move out and go to college. And so I told her not to get a dog because we're gonna be in college housing, not like the normal dormitories, because you can't live in the dormitories at the college I went to if you were a junior, and I was transferring as a junior. But anyways, I was like, I'm gonna be at school 8 hours a day. Like, how am I gonna take the dog out to go piss or whatever? I'm like, oh, we use puppy pads or whatever. I'm like, no, that doesn't work. That's not fair. Can't do that to him. But anyways, I gave him to my parents because when I was at college, I didn't have time to deal with him after my girlfriend dumped him on me, basically. I liked the dog, and I would have kept him if I hadn't been in school, but it's just like I kept coming home, and he would have peed on the carpet, or he would have, like, destroyed something because he wasn't getting the attention he required, and she obviously didn't care about him anymore, so it became, like, a bit of a frustration to me. I don't know, you gotta take care of pets. You can't just, like, abandon them and, like, ditch them with people like that, because the dog was definitely hers. When she left him over here, the dog would look at me like, so, I don't really know you. Like, we're not really friends, but she kind of left me here with you, so if you could fill up my bowl, that'd be pretty cool. And I did. After a while, he got friendly, and, you know, he became, like, my dog, but I just couldn't make it work with college, so I gave him to my parents because they wanted him anyways. So there it is. But yeah, I forgot why I started this story in the first place. Oh, man, I hate it when that happens. That's the worst. There's a reason I started this story. Oh, yeah, me and my cat are homies. So anyways, the cat was my ex-girlfriend's, I guess is the long and short story of this cat. And I don't know. He's, like, weird. The cat actually... I've never seen... He's a cat that sort of acts like a dog. I don't really know how else to describe it, and I said that really loudly, and I think he's under my desk right now, so now he's gonna be offended for the rest of the day. But anyways, he, like, follows me around the house 24/7. Like, he's always, like, attached to me at the hip. If I'm home, he, like, is everywhere with me, just, like, 5 feet from my feet. Or, like, 2 or 3 feet away from me. Just, like, that's just how he is. Friendly, too. Nice cat. Real nice cat. Big, 23 pounds. Huge tomcat. Big-ass tomcat. Not a mean bone in his body, though. Our other cat kicks the crap out of him on, like, a daily basis. He just has no fight in him. I don't even think he's ever been in a fight. He just kind of, like, gets beat up, and he's like, okay, and then just, like, walks off and accepts it. I don't know. It's a little sad considering how huge he is. Your stomach is feeling awful, and you have diarrhea. Oh, man, we have gastroenteritis. All right, so I'm going to have to use up... Whoa! What happened over here? Damn. Okay, so... That's a little bit crazy. It looks like actually something went down right here. Like a major fight took place between individuals that looks like it resulted in both sides having casualties. I don't know what else to say about it. Throw a boot in there. I'd like to match, but this right boot sucks compared to ours, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Oh, they're cannibals. Okay, so they're eating human meat, and then somebody apparently decided to roll out on them, or, I don't know, killed everybody involved. It looks like this got a little bit rowdy way more quickly than most people would have expected. There's a lot of stuff here. I'm kind of just picking through it real fast. I'll probably eat the jelly bears. And then... There's nothing else that I really want, though. Given the volume of loot, you'd assume there'd be a couple more things that are at least vaguely useful up in here, but no, indeed there are not. Most of the things are just sort of, eh. It's going to be hard to loot this place, I can tell already, because every time I loot, it's just going to fill it up with more stuff. Gastroenteritis, it should fix itself on its own. You just have to, like, stay rested and hydrated, and you should be alright. I'm hoping we'll find a water bottle around here somewhere. That's one of the reasons that I'm sitting here and scavenging so much. But, if we can end up with a few more goodies, we can make Zom Zoms work to our benefit. Lots of rocks laying around, but I'm okay with rocks. There's a lot of stuff here. There is a serious amount of stuff here. I probably shouldn't have sorted that. That was probably a bad plan. I saw the game lag super hard right there when I told it to sort. It was like, calculating. It's basically what happens when that occurs is it's got to go through and it's got to figure out, like... It's got to figure out the shape of everything. It's got to figure out the spots where that stuff can... Oh, cornucola bottles. That'll work for right now. Yeah, that'll do her. That'll do her. Alright, so now that we got the cornucola bottles, the AA batteries... I suppose I could bring a spare set with me just in case. I mean, we could fill them up with electricity in case our flashlight goes out, like extra batteries. Not a bad plan. Some meat cleavers. Probably won't camp right here. Probably won't camp right here because this is the sort of area where you go to sleep and then you get beat to death while you're laying on the ground. There's too many useful items laying around that people can pick up and use against you. Well, there's more. Is this human meat too? Wow. Some cannibal over here was going crazy. He's wasteful too. He's definitely not sticking to the rules of survivalism where you make use of everything that you possibly can. He said forget about it. Well, I think what I'm going to do for right now... Why did it reset my weapon? Okay, so there we go. What I'm going to do for right now is break the episode off. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Neo Scavenger. Well, let's do this combat real fast. I'm going to take cover... Did he take a shot at me? I don't know if he did. Oh, he's just passing through. Okay. My name is Splattercat. I'm happy to see you here. He left us water? Oh, what a nice guy. Who does that? Who does that in the apocalypse? Anyways, I'll see y'all later. Hi, everybody.